Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngozi on sign language. Mohamed Mugalu. President Yoweri Museveni will any moment from now address the nation on matters concerning the nation, including the Ebola outbreak. We will link you to that feed as soon as the head of state is ready to speak to us. But for now, let's dig into the bulletin. President Yoweri Museveni has assured the Catholic Church of government's support towards the beatification ceremony of Father Dr. Giuseppe Ambroseli, a Roman Catholic priest under the Comboni Missionary Society who died 35 years ago. The president made the assurance during a meeting with a delegation from Gulu Archdiocese led by the Archbishop John Baptist Odama at State House in Tebe, who came to brief him about the upcoming ceremony that will take place for the first time in Uganda.
We shall have to do it because the people there may not manage all these Ugandans who come there and the foreigners. It's not fair to make the church carry all this. So therefore, we are ready to do the road, but they shall definitely struggle with this. It's now a whole month. We have a whole month.
Although our colonial masters were the British, in terms of education, health, even road infrastructure, in northern Uganda it was the Comboni missionaries. So the people knew the British for collecting tax, but all the schools and major health centers dotted all over northern Uganda from West Nile to Karamoji were really the work of the Italian missionaries. And the person we're talking about is one of the Italian missionaries who combined priesthood and medical work. The function which is taking place in November 20th this year, here I think in Africa, the Archbishop will tell us it has never happened. Beatifications are normally done in Rome. So the Pope has, I think upon the request of the church and the family members of the deceased, that this beatification be done in Kalongo, where he worked, and he died when he was working there. So this is an exception, and this is a great opportunity, and that it is coming in your country during your tenure as head of state of Uganda. So it is both international because so many people will come from all over the world, and it is a function taking place in your home. So the church thought it proper that they come before you, you take charge. This is too heavy for them. These are your guests.
Number one. And within this also, Your Excellency, we want to express your invitation. It will be a big, big honor that the one gang should be there to see what is happening in a context of a very big event which is taking this nation, the whole of Africa, the whole of the world at large. This priest we're talking about, by names, is called Giuseppe, which means Joseph, and the home name is Ambrosoli.
In the world today, there are people who do not know that there are many good things coming out of Uganda, mainly because of the media, which spreads bad news. The event in Kalongo will be all over the world, and it is an opportunity for you to send a strong message to young people to emulate the sacrifice that you referred to earlier, of people leaving behind comfort. And you yourself belongs in that category. You could have become a bureaucrat, you could have become an intellectual, publishing papers in universities, writing books, but you also chose the hard path, just like the Reverend Father Dr. Ambrosoli. We are grateful that you have made a commitment to come in person. We are grateful that you have agreed to put in resources. We are grateful that you have mobilized government ministers to be part of this. Honorable Betty Amonge sent the permanent secretary. We believe that we are working together. Finally, our coming here should also assure you, Your Excellency, that we are united to support whatever the government wants to do. This is a sign of great unity.
Now, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, now Presidential Special Envoy Dr. Rhoda has supported President Yoweri Museveni's stand on the construction and development of the oil pipeline, regardless of current criticism by the European Union Parliament. In an interview, Rugunda re-echoes that no country can lecture Uganda about human rights, since there is none in the whole world that has perfectly exhibited human rights principles.
To tell the European Union to stop meddling on our oil.
There has been a mixed discussions among several sections of Ugandans ever since the European Parliament passed the monkey resolution attempting to rebuke Uganda's crude oil pipeline development project under the EACOP.
The European Union and other Western countries are historically responsible for climate change. Not Africa, not Uganda, not East Africa.
We are not going to withdraw. We are moving forward, having appreciated where we've come from, where we are. We quite very well know where we are going.
Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has been so quick to hit back at the European Parliament, vowing to proceed with the project.
These people are insufferable. You need to control yourself not to explode. Shallow, so egocentric, so wrong, that they think they know everything, broadcast their ignorance all over the place. So the plan will be implemented according to schedule.
This position has been supported by the former Premier of Uganda, Dr. Rhoda.
Our friends in Europe and other countries can say what they want to say. Our line is to support and promote the interests of the people of Uganda and the interests of the African people. And I completely agree with the President when he says that the projects to promote and have our oil out to benefit the Ugandan and the African people will go on. Yes, it will go on, and we should give him unequivocal support in this direction.
Rugunda acknowledges that though there might be some loopholes in regards to human rights acts in Uganda, efforts have been made to walk the talk.
All countries should observe human rights. In my view, Uganda has done very well on the issue of human rights, and no one really should be preaching to us about the issue of human rights, because the whole essence, the whole administration of NRM was a struggle for human rights. Yes, there may be some mistakes that have been made, but it's our responsibility, it's our duty to correct them, and the machinery is already in place to ensure that they are corrected. That's why we have the judiciary to ensure that if there are cases of human rights abuse, they are dealt with. That's why we have internal mechanisms, disciplinary measures, court martials, and other disciplinary agencies in institutions, in security agencies, in the government departments, to ensure that human rights are observed.
The former premier also stings the so-called superpowers for double standards as they forget to put their houses into order and turn to pinch at others.
There is no country in the world where you don't occasionally see human rights abuses. You have been seeing what has been happening in America. America is grappling with those issues to try and sort them out. So in fact, talk of human rights, Uganda should be saluted, should be congratulated for the tremendous progress it has made in the area of human rights in spite of the provocations and the challenges.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Another parliament somewhere.
Meanwhile, Kabarole District Ebola Task Force is concerned about the possible crowding in isolation centers and the lack of a standby ambulance system if the situation does go out of hand. This comes after a case was reported in Kasenda Sub-County, Kabarole District.
The case reported in Kabarore so far is of a 14-year-old from Kasenda, Sub-County Kabarore District, who presented Ebola symptoms before getting sample and evacuated to Fort Portal Referral Hospital Isolation Ward for further management.
When she exhibited some conditions and signs and symptoms that point to the likelihood of Ebola, she was treated as a suspect and evacuated, and she's right now being managed at Fort Portal Regional Referral Hospital.
Kabarore District Ebola Task Force are worried about inadequacies in case of more cases.
There's a very big gap on human resource because the moment we get a confirmed case, all the health workers that will be working or taking care or working in the treatment unit will not be going back home. So you just imagine what will happen.
At Fort Portal Referral Hospital, the only isolation ward has a capacity of 6 beds and strictly for only confirmed cases. Ministry of Health offered the referral hospital 3 tents for isolating patients, but there is no space at the hospital to erect the tents.
The medic we're talking about, to make clarity, is not supposed to handle suspects. It has only a 6-bed capacity, and that means each room has 2 beds. So meaning if it has 2 beds, if one room has only a male, that means you'll be, and the others are females, that means you cannot put a female in the same room with a male.
Transportation of patients is yet another challenge as the district relies on 1 ambulance for all cases, including pregnant mothers.
And now let's head over to State House in Entebbe, where the head of state will be addressing the nation on